So car wise, you bought a couple cars. At what point were you like, I want something badass? I gotta have something built.
I think when we were in what was that, Tennessee, Georgia? We were talking about the Grand National.
Oh,
are we going fast forward
well,
into that?
there,
Wait, where-
well,
Or
you
are
had
we
a
going
few in
all
between
the
that.
way back?
there was some stuff back
I think the
before
first, well, the GTO is what kind of kicked off our relationship.
Yep.
But I don't, was it before the GTO that we were buttoning up that kind of disaster of a project that you
Well,
had
yeah.
kind of going on?
We don't like to talk about that one.
Yeah, but we put it together.
Yeah, I learned my lesson on that. No, so what happened was I came in with the GTO, talked to Phil, and then when he came over to look at it, I had that Camaro sitting there. I'm like, hey, dude, can you help me figure this thing out? And, you did. But we ended up just selling it and get rid of it because there was no, it was a lost cause.
So when you came in and you met Phil, was that just like strictly a convenience thing that you're like, well, they're pretty close, so I'll just deal with these fucking
This
guys?
dude's a fucking badass.
Yeah.
I took him for a ride in Chris's Chevelle, and that pretty much
Oh,
deal.
okay.
Yeah,
So it was
100%.
Yeah.
I was just driving by. I'm like, hey, they look like they build cool cars here. I'm going to go in and talk to them. And
Saw Phil's Miata parked out front. You're like,
Yeah.
race cars. These guys know speed.
Yeah. I mean, we were here for a while, so you must have been cruising. I mean, how long was your place in Libertyville?
so
What
we moved
year?
in there around 16. I think we moved in. So
And
I had
when
known
did
you guys
you-
were here, but
Okay. So, yeah, it wasn't until later in life.
yeah,
that
I
you were
just came by.
passing here.
Stopped in. Me and Phil started talking. We hit it off, and it was it. Game on.
Yeah, the GTO kicked it all off, right? And that was like your uncle's car, wasn't it?
So it was my uncle's car. He bought it. It was an original, and he never really drove it. It was in the garage. The seat was out of it. The right front tire was off. He was always tinkering with it. And he'd started. We go over there for Thanksgiving. He'd be like, "Hey, you want to hear it run?" He'd start it up. And my aunt's like, when he died, you can have it for $1. And I'm like, all right, well, you let me know. Well, he got sick of the car sitting in the garage, so he, calls me. He's like, "Hey, you want it?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'll take it." And so I tried to offer him money for it. He's like, no, just take it. So I said, "I'll tell you what, I'm going to redo this car. I'm going to come over and take it for a ride." And ultimately, that's what I did.
What do you think?
He, when he
Yeah, you fucking ruined this thing. This is a
that's
numbers
exactly
match.
right. He's like, when I told him what I was doing, I was talking about it. He's giving me a dirty look. He's like, what are you doing? And, after the car was done and, I think, in the magazine, we had a nice spread. He my aunt's like, he takes that out for everybody. He's so proud of that.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
that's cool.
It's all good. We,
You guys made amends on it.
we made amends. Yeah. He was definitely,
I mean, it's very true to form, and the car definitely pays respect to what it was. It's very stock appearing.
100%.
Yeah,
No
it's
doubt about it.
just
I mean,
better.
it's,
Classiest looking thing we've built.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's very sentimental to
Yeah.
me. I love it. And, the compliments I get on that car are unbelievable.
It
No
looks
doubt.
cool when you came rolling in here for the oil change and stuff. It's interesting when you don't see him for a while and then you see it in action.
Yeah.
It's striking car.
Yeah.
It is.
I always thought that car had cool lines. It just had a sinister type look to it, the way it was designed.
Yeah.
I always loved it.
I've always that your car specifically. It always looks like it's got more shine. Like there's more things to sparkle.
Yeah.
Like than a lot of cars that we've done. Same amount of chrome, same amount of
We added the crystals to it.
added the crystal.
That-
But it's got like facets and edges, and it's always looks like it's like a little shinier.
Yeah. That car fought us a little bit on the tail end.
You did.
Too.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was terrible time. That car, we were wrapping it up, and, I'll never forget because the timing wasn't great. I'm in Florida picking up my old man who wasn't doing well at the time, and I've got, I forget if it was Chad or John and the painters calling me because we just couldn't get this damn wave out of the quarter. You would get this thing laser straight, and then you'd bake the car, and you pull it out, and it just had this subtle little deflection in the quarter. And, it was just the fucking quarters. It's a long-ass quarter, and the car's laser straight. And to have that one imperfection, it was just driving me nuts. And I'll never forget, I was actually in the Keys, standing on the dock. And it's just, order some fucking quarter panels. We're cutting the fucking quarter panels off. We're putting new fucking quarters on the car. And that was, finished, painted, sanded, buffed car. So we put new quarters on it. And it's beautiful now. So you gotta stick with them until to get them right. Sometimes they fight you.
Well, hey, you know what? That speaks to your quality, right? Your integrity. I mean, I remember when Phil was breaking that news to me. He's like, "Man, I got bad news," and he's like, "We got issues with the quarters, and we got to cut them off and redo it." And I'm like, "Hey, you do what you got to do," and I appreciated that. You guys made it right.
It was a little delay. But in the end, I think it was worth it, Minor setback.
Lost a couple months there, but
It's okay.
big picture was the right call.
Yeah. No
Gotta make it
doubt
right.
about
Yep. Gotta make it right.
No doubt about it.
I still remember the conversation of the vinyl roof. This was like before like the whole big stock restoration trend was kind of going on, and got the car painted. And he said, "They're like, I think this thing needs a vinyl roof." I'm like, you're fucking crazy. You're not putting a vinyl roof. Like nobody put vinyl roofs on cars.
Yeah,
Anything that's been restored or
they
customized.
almost looked at like Lando tops back then.
Yeah.
Like who does that?
Yeah.
You take those off.
He just kept going, no, this one needs the vinyl top. Like, I can't sell that to Scott. There's no way I'm going to call him and say we're putting a vinyl top on it. And then we put the vinyl top on, and it looks a million times better. Would look horrible without it.
Yeah,
Almost.
it looks good. But that one goes back to that's like a Matchbox car thing for me.
Yeah.
because I remember having one of those, and it had red lines and everything, and it was like
The black top.
just stuck in my head for some reason. It looks good. Certain cars lend
There's only
themselves
a
really
handful
well.
that can do it.
I remember having that conversation with Phil, and you're like, normally we wouldn't put a vinyl top on a car like this, but in this case, we're going to recommend it. And I was like, okay. I was not, in my mind, the vision I had was definitely no vinyl top. And
it was mine all day.
I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna let these guys do their thing. They're good at what they do. And every time I look at that car, I think about that, and there would be no other way to do that car without the vinyl top. It's just sick. It really adds to the character.
It worked. If only we could have done a vinyl quarter panel.
Yeah.
We'd have made a few bucks on the car.
Put some matte black Mopar billboards on the quarter panel.
Yeah. But it is a gorgeous car.
Yeah, no doubt.
Where's the conversation go next after the GTO, or is it through the GTO when you're like, man, I really enjoy this process. I think this thing's gonna be pretty cool. If they hit their marks and they do what they say they're gonna do, I'm thinking about doing this next.
Well, I love the process. I love seeing the progress on the car. The excitement, all that. Of course, the end result was just amazing. Again, work of art, right? And I'm like, man, I told these guys, I'm like, I want to keep going. Let's build some cool shit. And we're still going. And I still got, I don't know what I'm going to do with all the cars.
Rolling.
In my mind, I built another 5 cars with you guys. We just haven't gotten there yet.
Nice.
But
the GN was definitely a banger, which is cool because that's, the industry. We've had so many people on this podcast, and everybody always wants to talk about like what's coming next and when are you going to do, like when are the IROCs coming and when are people going to start doing the Fox bodies and the Grand Nationals. So you're kind of like the stereotype of like that age group, in the early 50s. That obviously that car must have appealed to you. I mean,
I couldn't afford it. I mean, they were so cool. I couldn't afford a Grand National, so it just wasn't an option. And now, here's my shot, right? But I got, you guys, and there's a lot more technology out there. So let's build this thing just, off the chain.
Yeah, it's off the chain. That's for sure.
That's probably my favorite car that we've done to drive.
Yeah.
I love driving that car. It's the first car we brought it because it wasn't really like sorted when we brought it out to SEMA. We brought it to SEMA. I mean, it was running, tuned, and all that, and we had to drive it. You drove with me. We had to drive it from from the SEMA show because we always parked the rig a couple miles away.
Yeah,
and we're driving this thing, and you're like, holy fuck!
It's like it's floating.
Yeah, this car is awesome.
It's like it was like an S-Class.
Yeah, it was cool as hell.
I love driving that car.
We kept thinking. Remember, we were talking about it, and we kept thinking we were overhyping it to ourselves. So we were rolling windows down and up. Remember, and then radio off and doing stuff. And it was kind of like, are we? Is it really as good as we think it is? Are we just like,
You were
know,
in
when
Vegas for 10 days. There was
we were in-
substance in it.
Yeah.
well, and that's what we kept thinking. We're like, no, we're stone cold sober. Everything's good. Like, this thing's really that good. You know, when you're like starving and you eat at a restaurant, you're like, oh my God, that was amazing.
Right.
And then you're like, I think I was just hungry.
Or you're drinking.
Yeah.
And you're eating it.
Yeah.
And
We
it
were
tastes
sober.
good. And then
We
you
were
eat that
sober.
same food sober, and you're like,
You know,
that's the way I remember
that
it.
place
Not as
sucks.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we kept talking about how good it was. There was something cool about that night, though. Anyway, just seeing everything, like the lights lit up and the dash lit up, and how good it was riding and driving, and it was just that was a very unique experience.
Yeah.
It's got to be like the meanest looking car there is. You know, those cars always look. I was never a GN fan, but when you see one that sits right, looks right, it's such a sinister, like evil looking car.
Oh, no doubt. No question. And you know, I got to say, I was at I took it to a car show a few weeks ago, and I just noticed the plate you guys put under the hood and what it said, which was awesome.
Yeah, we
I
tried to
love that.
sprinkle a little humor. in
Yeah.
there.
No
Easter
doubt.
eggs.
Well, we
Easter
had
eggs.
some haters out there for sure that
Yeah.
weren't too happy with us taking that car apart.
Yeah, that surprisingly, I think it was pretty well received. I mean, unanimously well received. Versus the haters were pretty minimal.
Weird fucking Buick guys that are in their basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just the way
Much
it is.
like the guy we bought the car from.
That's
Right?
the single
yeah.
weirdest. If I
He was
got,
a weirdo,
if I
too.
would have gotten molested by that dude, that would have been totally on you.
Yeah.
you set us to look at this thing.
I was nervous when
I
I was in
thought-
his garage and you guys were
Yeah, I
on
thought
the
he was.
driveway.
I thought he was going to take me inside. I thought I wasn't coming back out. This was
Yeah.
the strangest dude we've ever encountered. Did you found the car, right? Or did I find it?
No, I think you found it.
You found it, and
Yeah,
then
because he was a Fiero guy too, so
Oh.
that's where you had that connection.
Yeah.
And-
Because we were struggling to find him without the side trim. Everything we found, we were going to originally do it as a survivor.
right.
And then you got all crazy and you're like,
Well, I don't know. If that
With
was,
these ideas.
I mean, I don't know that was all my fault.
Yeah.
I think when
Scott-
we had to put the flares on over the wheel
Yeah.
wells. That's when the whole car needed to be
I'll take the
repainted.
blame.
I-
I'll
Yeah,
take the
Scott
blame.
called. It's like, I think we need to flare this thing. I'm like, oh, my brother's not going to like that idea.
I remember the conversation when it was still going to be flared and not like do a full paint.
We tried.
because you were telling me like, oh, we're just going to put the flares on. I was like, that's not.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
We tried. We did try.
That's okay.
It makes
is
the whole car.
It does for sure.
Yeah, I think it's just like to get the tire fitment on those. That's absolutely key. The car looks just sick because of the way the tires sit in. You never get that.
Yeah.
they
They're
end
like
up
fake flares, right? On the original ones where you
Well, it's
can't
a
get a tire up and in it.
Yeah, it's a
The inner-
flare. There's a flare in the outer panel, but the inner, well, that'd be the outer wheelhouse is so fat
You can't get
that
the
it's
tire
like,
up.
yeah, the tire sits way inboard of it and just looks odd.
Yeah.
But it
Turned out cool.
The car's badass. I mean, I love driving it. I love just looking at it.
Yeah.
And of course, it's fast as hell. So, you know, it's just a little press on the accelerator and you're ripping.
Yeah.
It's the first one that scared me a little bit.
Yeah.
It's
I keep it in the 1300 tune because it's, you know, it's that you can, you know, as soon as the turbos kick in, you could pretty much, you know, smoke it, but you know, it's not like insane,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's half. I mean, it's manageable. It's
Yeah.
not. It won't hurt you.
Yeah.
The full boogie tune it's a little frightening.
Yeah. I mean, no doubt.
180 mile an hour burnouts.
Yeah, it goes so fast. It gets there like it's ridiculous how quick that car is. And that was the first like big horsepower turbo car we did.
Yeah.
We done a ton of blower, you know, like Whipple superchargers and stuff, and they're so damn torquey, you know, that it just blows the tires off, and they're fun, and you know, bang gears and stuff with them, but you don't get that like mile an hour like that car. That car just like before you know it, you're doing like 150, 160,
Yeah.
like
No
instantly.
question. And it's just the way
Wheel
it
speed.
pushes you in the
Land
back-
speed's
the
about
back of the
120.
seat.
Yeah, you're just like stuck to the seat. And
Yeah. It just pushes you back and you're accelerating. No doubt.
How's the thrill stack up between that and doing like, I mean, what have you been like 150 something on the water?
Yeah, I mean, you know, definitely a little bit of a different experience, but the adrenaline rush is very similar for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
I've got a video of the 161 on the back
that
of the
what we
seat.
did?
Yeah.
yeah. I think it was down in the Keys, right?
Yeah. Oh man.
I got a new one coming in probably in about a month, and that should be the fastest one yet.
They just keep going faster with those things.
Yeah, I mean, their technology, they keep making them faster and cooler, and of course, I'm the one that's like, hey, I'll take one. Let's see what we can do.
That's not often talked about on the podcast. So Jesse was with us, remember Greening?
Yeah,
we were doing the road tour thing, but the power move. You got the boat, we got it set up. We're going to do the shots with the Camaro, right? You're driving the Camaro in the boat. The Coast Guard's got that closed down, because of the cruise ships.
Yeah,
and
that was
no problem. We'll get through there. Yeah. And I mean, I'm like,
that was a power move.
First of all, it's the U.S. Coast Guard, so I don't know. You might know somebody at the marina, but like,
well, we called them.
Yeah, and that was a call, and they're like, all right, yeah.
So you guys can make like one run.
They said we can make one pass,
and then we made two. They're like, yeah. They said you could do another one.
Well, we totally screwed that one up with the drone. We missed it.
Yeah,
but we decided to just ask for forgiveness at that point.
Yeah.
Well, it's government cut. Yeah. Yeah. So for everybody listening, I mean, that's like in Miami, that's where all the cruise ships are lining up, right? And the Coast Guard's got it just shut down for probably safety reasons. Why do they?
Yeah, I think after 9/11 they started.
When there's cruise ships docked, it gets locked up.
Yeah,
correct.
So they must have looked at us and thought we were probably upstanding citizens. I guess
they questioned
or Scott's personality.
They questioned Jesse with that beard. They're like,
they didn't see us as
out of the boat. But that's got to be the coolest picture that exists.
Oh man,
yeah.
The picture that the Camaro. What's the highway there?
That's the causeway.
The causeway.
Yeah.
Yeah. The boat's throwing a massive roost. The Camaro's riding next to it. Mercury motor in the Camaro. Mercury motors in the boat.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Phil because you had to be